Hi, I'm Celeste Majors, your canary in the coal mine. If you have enjoyed these videos, you might want to go to my website, which is called yourcanaryinthecoalmine.com, and look in the video archives where you can find back videos that I've done in the past. Today I want to talk about stress. I heard a statistic that stress kills more people than smoking does. And you might just think, really, I've never heard of anyone dying from stress. But I have. One of the reasons why I have is because I've belonged to a caregiver support group for the last decade, and several of the people in that group have actually died from the stress of the caregiving that they've had to provide for somebody with cancer or Alzheimer's or one of the really heavy duty diseases. And I've even heard a cancer sufferer suggest that he thought that his wife, who was doing the caregiving, had a tougher road to hoe than he had, because he was getting all the attention and the applause and everything, and she was just doing all the hard work. So when you think about your wellness, a lot of times you'll just hear people say, oh, it's all diet and exercise, diet and exercise. And I don't think that's true. I think there's four major pillars to a healthy life. The first one is, of course, what you put in your mouth. The second one is how much activity do you get, and is it the right source? Nowadays, it's almost any source would be an improvement, because so many of us sit most of our days. And then the third pillar is how much sleep are you getting, and the quality of that sleep, because that's when your body repairs and restores, is when you're asleep. And the fourth major pillar is this issue of stress. How much stress are you under, and what are you doing to counteract whatever stress you're under? I think in the past, people lived a little less stressful life than we do nowadays. The pace of life has really picked up. And although people in the past, like in a farming community 150 years ago, yes, they might have some plague of locusts come through or a tornado hit the community, but there was a shared stress. There was more people that were all kind of affected at the same time, and they would help each other out. So I think in smaller communities like we used to live in hundreds of years ago, we actually had more support for when we were in stressful times. And of course we had ceremonies and rituals and stuff to deal with the stress of our loved ones dying and so forth. Today we live a more isolated existence, so we don't have as much support around us if we are not actively seeking that out like I was. And with the pace of life and the intensity of life, and everything needs to be done right now, and we've got more things to do than we've ever had before in our life, it's kind of laughable to me that back in the 1950s when I was growing up, they foresaw a day when machines would take over most of the work of our society, and we would be sitting around talking to each other, having fun, and that the amount of leisure time they were projecting by the end of the century, by 2000, was going to be much more than it was. You wouldn't have to be working a 40-hour week anymore. And now it seems like it went just the opposite direction. People are working more hours than ever, and they're trying to balance that against more stressful schedules outside of work too. All these parents that have to take their kids to all these different kinds of activities and participate in being in the audience and so forth. It's just stunning how our society has moved in the direction of increasing amounts of stress. So it doesn't surprise me that stress contributes to, if not being the direct cause, of a lot of death in society. So what you need to do is, there are some things, of course, we can't really adjust the amount of stress we're under at some times in our lives. For example, if you have a loved one who like my mother, was in the last year of her life in 2017, or you have a work situation that's very, very high pressure, and at least in the short run, you can't do anything about it. But what you can do is you can try to do all the other things that you can think of in your life to help your body deal with the stress. Like I really tried to eat well. I still try to eat well, but during the time that my mother was in that last year, in 2017, I really tried to keep my diet as clean as possible. I didn't goof off and go have a muffin or something like that because I knew the impact it was going to have on me. I meditated regularly. I prayed. I got regular exercise. I did dozens of things actually to try to just keep myself balanced enough to face another day or another 3 a.m. in the morning emergency phone call. And that's what I'm suggesting that you need to build into your life. And I know a lot of times we'll say, well, I just need to ramp up my energy and I'll get through this. But the truth is, we're just living a almost continuously stressful existence. And so you actually have to take some of the time you need to do stress relieving activities. Otherwise, you're going to die at an early age. I think there's evidence, scientific evidence, that some of the reason why people are so overweight nowadays, besides the fact that we're eating junky food and eating too much of it, is the stress level on us is such that the cortisol, which is the stress hormone in our body, is ramped up so much of the time that that's part of the reason why we're putting on so much weight. So I just want to encourage you to find ways that you enjoy to relieve stress. I mean, it could be deciding to take a hot, relaxing bath every evening with candles and essential oils, or it could be to meditate, or it could be to use more magnesium, which is a very calming mineral, or to set a goal to do 3 items on your to-do list per day and then not anymore, not just keep going with the list and list and list until you drop over into sleep. So that's my health tip for today, is consciously find things to do that help you relieve stress and do them on a regular basis. If you don't, it will be very difficult to stay well. And as usual, I want you to get well and stay well. Thanks.